Hello and welcome to the special free webinar, How to Gain $1 Million Worth of Free Publicity. Great to have you here today. Free, $1 million worth of free publicity. It's so free, we have two frees in the cover slide, I've just realized. So we have two frees, double the freedom today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Aldwyn Altuney, and I am known as the Media Queen. I help people get their message to the masses using online and offline media. And there's a few things I stand for. One is truth. One is truth in the media. And ever since COVID started, I must say in my gut, I felt something was not quite right. And I felt now is the time more than ever that it is time to help people speak their truth and share more good news. So another thing I'm passionate about is good news. And I started the Global Good News Challenge in June to help inspire people, lift people's spirits and help get their message out. So just imagine today, what would happen to you or your business if you were interviewed on Sunrise Tomorrow or on a morning show in America? Imagine what would happen to you or your business. What do you think would happen? Would anyone like to share in the chat or like to unmute themselves? What do you think would happen to you or your business if you were on Sunrise Tomorrow? Stephen?
I guess that there'd be a hell of a lot of interest and some surprise from my family too. Probably going, what the hell are you doing there? But yeah, no, it'd be from the business. I think it'd be, positive.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else want to share? What would happen to your business, do you think, if you're on morning TV tomorrow?
So it will give me exposure and have people to get to know about me and what I do.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Wonderful. Or what if the local paper, the Courier Mail or Sydney Morning Herald, if you're Courier Mail, if you're in Brisbane, Sydney Morning Herald, if you're in Sydney, depending where you are, the Herald Sun in Melbourne, wherever you are in the world, what if you're in a major newspaper? What would happen to your business, do you think? Feel free to share in the chat as well. Or what if Oprah's office called you and asked if you could be available for a show? How would that be? Well, what happened to Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when he appeared on Oprah? It was actually the 27th of April, 2000, 3 years after he did Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he appeared on Oprah. And at the end of the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad, we've just sold you 1 million books." Now, at the time, Robert Kiyosaki was making $5 per book. So that's $5 million that he just made at the end of a 1 hour show. Now, obviously that's Oprah and, that's pretty major media. But the fact is, just getting out in your local media, you will be reaching hundreds of thousands of people. And it may be just one person who sees your media that could help catapult your business to a whole new level, or your life or your message or whatever it is you want media coverage for, which I'd love to hear from you actually, what you want media coverage for. You might want to share more about your business. You might want to increase your sales or your leads. You might want to make a bigger difference in the world. You might want to leave an impact, increase your credibility. So many reasons why people want publicity. A lot of people want it to support a cause. Whatever it is, you can do this through publicity. And if you are time poor in any way, if you're time poor, then this is even more reason why you would want to be using the power of publicity, because every time you get coverage, you are leveraging yourself. You are getting your message out to hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people. In fact, nowadays it's generally millions of people that you're getting out to, because with the way of the media now, we've got in the last 15 years, we've had social media come about, which means no longer we're being bombarded messages by just a few major media outlets. Now we have the whole world of the mass media. And this is very exciting times actually, because now all the major media outlets, all the TV, radio, print outlets, they also have massive followings on social media and also on their website. So now we've got the whole mass media world that you can get your message out to and make an even bigger impact using this strategy. Now, this is all possible for you. I really want you to get today that whether you realize it or not, that you are extraordinary. And in fact, if you've had any hardship whatsoever in your life and you've overcome that, there is a story right there. You know, a lot of people come to me and they go, oh, I don't think I've got a story, or other people are, you know, better than me at this, or, you know, it's self-sabotage. Just notice when those self-sabotage conversations come up there. Now, you only need to know 10% more than someone else to be able to teach people something, or be able to step up as an expert. The fact is, you will never know every single thing about your topic. You never will, because things are constantly changing, right? So what I suggest is to be kind with yourself, be gentle with yourself moving forward, and to allow yourself to step up with your message and realize that you do have a message. And often we're so close to our story that we don't realize how amazing our story is, or how we help people with what we do. There is so much you can share in that. And I really want to inspire you today to realize that you can get your message out, that you can feature on TV, radio, and print. People do it every single day. And so if you're not in your industry as the expert, then who in your industry is out there right now known as the expert? Who is it? You probably think of someone right now. Who is that person that's known as the expert in your industry? And really, when you think about it, when you think about the things that they're saying in the media versus what you might say in the media, then really think about, are they really saying anything that's really that extraordinary, or anything that you don't already know, right? And so the only difference is generally with those that are known as the experts versus yourself is that they have got more media coverage than you, right? They've built that profile. So, you know, 80% of anything you do is marketing. You don't have to be the best in the world at something. In fact, a lot of people who aren't the best in the world are mega superstars. I mean, look at Kylie Minogue. Kylie Minogue, when she started singing, she was a crap singer, really. She was known from Neighbours. She was a really bad singer. And then she got on Stock Aitken or Waterman, and then they suddenly, with marketing, when she got those hot pants on and started to jiggle around with that spinning around song, that's when suddenly things just went crazy for her, right? I'm not suggesting that you use sex to sell, but what I'm saying is marketing. Marketing is really, really crucial, and how you put your marketing messages out there. We are in unprecedented times, as you would know, with COVID, all this drama around COVID just came around in March. Now, we can't control what the mainstream media is feeding us, or what sort of rules that they're putting on us, that you have to wear masks and lockdown and all this kind of stuff. We can't control any of that stuff, but you can control how you're going to be about it and what you're going to do about it right now. And what's actually happening right now is massive opportunity for people to get more content out, to build online courses, to do so much more online, because content consumption has actually gone up at least 60%. I would say even more than that now. This stat came out about 2 months ago. At least 60% more content consumption is up now during COVID, which means people are on the internet. So you want to reach more people, you go where the people are. They're on the internet. So what can you do that is going to serve people on the internet using technology? As much as we might love it and hate it at times, there is massive opportunity. And in fact, in the biggest downturns of all time, we've had the biggest successes have come out of that. So there is huge opportunity. It's all about how you're going to view what's happening right now. How are you going to be about it right now? What are you going to do? This pivot is a big word, right, at the moment. What are you going to do? Pivot, do things differently now that so much is going online. Now, this is a very exciting stat. Out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, did you know that 3.8 billion people out of the whole of the world's population are now active social media users? This is insane. This is more than half the population, when really Facebook only came around like 16 years ago. It only started, right? It's not, we're not talking a lot of time. Things are changing rapidly. Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, so much different social media out there. You don't have to be on all of them. You want to go where your ideal clients are, or where you want to get your message out to. But there's massive, massive opportunity. And now what's happening is journalists, traditional journalists, TV, print media is my background. I've got 36 years media experience, been in the industry a long time. What's happening now with journalists is they are looking to social media every single day for story ideas. So it's really important to be conscious about what kind of messages are you putting out. I've had a lot of my friends they've put an interesting post out on social media, and a journalist has contacted them for a radio interview or for different media coverage. And of course, now we have podcasts, we have online news sites. There's so much opportunity to get your message out to the masses. So that stat there comes from Digital 2020 Global Overview Report. Now, I do have 36 years experience. Just a bit of background on me. I know I look about 25. Thank you very much. I'm actually 46. And I was first featured in the media, believe it or not, for table tennis at the age of 10. And at age 11, I was actually on Cartoon Connection. And I remember I was in the studio in Sydney, and I remember the TV host saying to me, as there was a big camera right in front of me, and there was about maybe 20 people in the studio, and we had a table tennis table behind us, which I was about to do a demonstration with my brother playing table tennis. And I remember the host saying to me, "Don't think of the 2 million people watching this right now." So can you imagine, as an 11-year-old, I absolutely freaked. All I could see in that camera was the 2 million people watching me right now, even though there are only 20 people in the studio, right? So I was like, oh my God, and I just froze. I tell you, I was what you would call shocking talent at the time as far as the interview goes, because I freaked out. All I could think about was the 2 million people. And that's the thing, is when we get nervous, it's because we're worried about what the 2 million people are going to think, right? So a hot tip here for you when you come to do your media coverage is focus on how you can be of service and allow the right words to come through. And I have a whole strategy around that to do that, to overcome nerves. But what we were good at the time is my brother and I, we went on that table tennis table and we just hit the forehand to forehand. For anyone who's played table tennis here, this is how people train, right? You go forehand to forehand, backhand to backhand. So we just kept getting that ball on the table. And for us, that was something we did all the time. It was an unconscious competence that we had around what we did, right? We just kept that ball going, and it wowed them. They loved it. It was a great visual for TV. And that's the thing, is there'll be things that you do in your business every single day or in your life that are amazing, and you just think it's like second nature. You do it all the time. But, what is it that you do where people say, wow, tell me more about that? Or what is it about your story where people say, wow, tell me more about that? That's what we want to, that's the gems we want to find to help get you out in the media, to find those gems that the media will love. And everybody has a story. Your X factor is your story. Nobody has your story. So the world is waiting to hear from you on that. I then went on, I did a radio show at Radio Manly Warringah. I actually had quite a rocky childhood. I was actually bullied as a child, as a first generation Australian in Sydney. I've got Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian heritage, if you're wondering where my amazing name comes from. And Aldwyn is actually a Welsh name. I was named after a good friend of my parents who died when Mum was 8 months pregnant to me. So that's how I got that name. But actually growing up, I was actually quite an angry child, and I got a lot of anger out with table tennis, which was fantastic. I had this killer forehand smash. And, I actually went from dux of my primary school to actually being kicked out of home at 15, went totally off the rails, failed everything in year 11, and then changed my environment after a turning point happened. And that turning point was at age 16, seeing my boyfriend sleep with my best friend in front of me at 16. And I remember calling my mum up in tears saying, I can't handle this anymore. And, my boyfriend at the time was a drummer. We were jamming every night. There was drugs, alcohol. It was just a complete mess of a lifestyle. And I went back home. I changed environments, changed schools from Mossman High School to Forest High School, and worked my butt off, and I got into a media degree. So there was a really rocky period there through my teenage years, which now looking back at that, I am so grateful for that time, because, often we think the grass is greener on the other side. Whereas really, I had it so good at home. I had the most loving parents. But the thing is, my dad was very strict European, and whatever my dad said to do, I would do the opposite. So it's no wonder he kicked me out of home, right? And look, now we have the most extraordinary relationship. In fact, just on Sunday, my parents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. And it makes me so happy because, my dad's 82 now, my mum's 76. They've just been through so much. My dad survived 4 heart attacks, diabetes, prostate cancer. your mum's starting to get early dementia, etc. So I just think right now, particularly during COVID, family time is so precious. And I think it's also important to look at the relationships in your life where you're holding a grudge towards someone. I think it's really important to help let that go, because if you're holding a grudge and resentment, it's going to play out in all other areas of your life. So I suggest, and my high recommendation is, no matter what you think about people, is to send love at this time and send compassion, because everyone, I believe, is doing the best that they can under the circumstances. So moving on. So I went and did a BA in communications, majoring in media after that. And I actually applied for a job as editor of Curio, which is a university newspaper. I actually applied 3 times for this job before I got it. And thankfully I got it in the end, and I actually ended up becoming the longest serving editor of that newspaper. We had 30 staff at the time. And what I loved about that paper is that it was independent press. Like whatever I saw in the environment, whatever I saw on documentaries or out in society that I wasn't happy about, I would write about it. So there was stories. One of the first stories I did was an anti-duck shooting story. I couldn't believe that people were killing ducks for fun. I just couldn't believe it. And so the headline we had at the time was "Go and Get Ducked," right? It was out there press, right? And there's another one I did on female circumcision. There was another one I did on recycling in the environment, because I was a passionate environmentalist. There was another one I did on battery farming of chickens. I couldn't believe that if you buy cage eggs, that you're supporting, battery farming, where you've got 4 chickens on like one A4 size piece of paper size. You've got 4 chickens on a slope, and it's horrific what happens with these chickens. So if you're having eggs from these chickens, you're going to take on all that kind of energy. It's pretty horrific. So I just wanted to raise some awareness, and I thought if I can just impact one person with this story, and help just one person have some more awareness where they might make some different choices moving forward with that awareness, then it's worth putting this PR out. And then I did my first media training in 2000. I've had repeated calls for more. So actually last year I did about 30 offline events. I did events on the Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. I spoke in LA, New Zealand. I was doing 4 months of the year up until COVID. I'd been traveling around the world and around Australia doing talks and different presentations. So one thing I've done since COVID is I have gone back to doing webinars. I did some webinars like 5 years ago, and I'd stopped doing webinars. And I started to put these webinars out, and here we are to this day. And now my business has just taken off since COVID. In fact, I'm being busier than ever before. I'm loving what I do more than ever before. I'm inspired to help share more truth and good news and make a bigger impact in the world. And I'm in total flow. So you know what? I'm grateful for COVID right now, because I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for these lockdowns happening right now. And I know a lot of people have actually, their business have been doubling, tripling now during COVID. I've got quite a few people in my circle of friends that is happening right now. So massive opportunity for you. And I think there's a reason you're here today. Now, I've since gone on and worked in all types of media. So the strategies I'm going to show you today work for media all around the world. It doesn't matter if you want radio coverage, TV, magazines, or newspapers. The strategies I'll show you have worked for myself and my clients ever since I started my media business, which was 2002. I've been helping clients get PR and get their message out. Magazines I've freelanced for all over the world. M Magazine in South Africa, Business Acumen Magazine in Brisbane, Excel Magazine that was in Singapore, went out to 25 countries. Jetstar Magazine I freelanced for. So there's lots of different magazines and all sorts of media that we've had coverage in. I've also had the great fortune to interview stars. These are some of the people that I've personally interviewed. Also in LA, last year I interviewed Charlie Sheen, Jewel, and also Vanilla Ice from Ice Baby fame, who was once dating Madonna. Can you believe it? I sat right next door to someone who has slept with Madonna. That's amazing. Anyway, so Vanilla Ice, and there's a few things all these people have in common. One thing is, at one point they were once the world's best kept secret. Now, if you look at yourself right now in your life, do you feel like you are the world's best kept secret? Well, these guys at one point, no one knew any of these people at one point. And now, So many people know them. And why is that? Well, they've followed their passions. They've done what they've loved. Even at times they might have worked as waiters at time, and they've kept their acting or their singing or whatever it is that they wanted to do. They've kept their passions going, and now they're absolute celebrities, right? Another thing they all have in common is they all have somebody else representing them to the media. Now, you don't have to do this, depending on your budget, of course. You don't have to have someone representing you to the media, although it always looks better having someone else say you're amazing rather than you saying you're amazing. The third thing they all have in common, and someone said to me once, they all take cocaine. Well, look, I don't know if they all take cocaine. I'm not sure about their drug habits. However, they have hardened themselves to criticism. They're passionate. They've got someone else working for them. And I think the biggest thing out of all those things is that they have hardened themselves to criticism. So you've got to be willing, when you're putting yourself out in the media or in the limelight in any way, you've got to be prepared. There's going to be people that love you and people that hate you, regardless of what you do, right? Regardless of what you do, you're going to get that. So in saying that, look at Donald Trump, for example. He's a perfect example of someone that some people absolutely hate and other people absolutely love. And in fact, all celebrities, there's people that love them, people that hate them. You know what happens with magazines where they make up stories. There's a lot of fake news out there about different celebrities and different people who are in the limelight. And the thing is if you stay in your truth and you stay true to you, then it doesn't matter what other people think. And they say what other people think is none of your business, right? So, you know, that's the thing. So you need to be able to toughen yourself to criticism and stay on your path, stay in your truth with what you're doing, and then none of that will matter. Nowadays, I host online TV shows too. I've got Media Queen TV on YouTube, and Tech Webcast is a podcast that I've co-hosted for a few years with two guys from Melbourne and a guy from America. And I've never actually met these guys in person, but the show has had over 1 million downloads on iTunes in the last 8 years. So it's been incredible. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunity for you to do your own podcasts or to team up with others to do, you know, either audio podcasts or video podcasts as well, and really build your brand that way. What are you passionate about? This is really important to think about when you're putting your media out. What are you passionate about? For me, I'm really passionate about good news, inspiring more good news. And there's several reasons for that. I have a personal story about that. I've actually had depression over the years. You know, my dad always said to me, anger is danger. And I internalized my anger for many years. And, you know, someone said to me once, they said, you know, depression is when anger is turned inwards. And that really resonated with me because I had a lot of trouble expressing my anger. So I became depressed for years. There was moments I'd go into some really dark places. And I've actually had 4 friends who've taken their own lives before the age of 45. And there's actually 1 million people worldwide who take their own lives. About 1 million people. And that number has gone up since COVID, right? It's pretty frightening to think, you know, that when people watch mainstream news as well all the time, if they're just watching mainstream news, you could potentially end up depressed and suicidal. In fact, my dad growing up too, every single night we'd have the news on, tradition, you know, and it was so friggin' depressing. And I remember as a kid, you know, one day I was only about 7, 8 years old. I remember going to my dad crying at the end of a news bulletin thinking, why is the world so horrible? Why are people like this? And he just said, well, that's just how the world is. Well, I don't believe that's how the world is completely. I think, sure, there's always going to be dramas out there, but there's so many things we can celebrate, right? So I have a personal story relating to my passion of good news. Now, since that, I've created the Global Good News Day, which is the 8th of the 8th, 18. I created that in line with my niece's birthdays on the same day. So we just had the 3rd annual Global Good News Day, and also the Global Good News Challenge I have launched through COVID. We launched that in June. I know Christiane here has completed a few of the challenges, and we've had a few others. Linda, I saw you do one the other day, which is awesome. And then inspiring action for animals is another thing I'm really passionate about. And so for years I saw animal cruelty, was really upset by animal cruelty, wanted to do something to make a difference. So I created the world's first Animal Action Day in 2007. I've since done 13 annual events, gained millions of dollars worth of free publicity for a whole lot of different animal causes that I've aligned with every single year. and I've done something about things I'm passionate about. Now, you don't have to go out and create an event around something you're passionate about, but what you could do is you could align yourself and your business and your message with a charity or a cause that's already doing great things in an area that you want to get your message out in. So really think about what is it you're passionate about. And you could even brain dump a whole lot of things you're passionate about and look at what is it that you feel most strongly about out of all your passions. Now, there's 3 steps to publicity I want to cover today. The first is your product. So what is your product, service, or your message that you want to promote? What's your awesome? What is it that when you share what you do with people, they say, wow, that's amazing? So what is your product? So brain dump, what is it that you want to promote? Is it maybe a book that you want to promote, a program? Is it something you do? Is it a physical product? What is it that you want to promote? Now let's look at the cost of advertising. Now these are all rates for Australian traditional media. Now for TV, for a 30-second spot on traditional TV, you're looking to up to $25,000 it costs for ads during high rating shows, just for a 30-second spot. For radio, a 60-second spot is about $500. Now, people don't just do one spot, do they? They do multiple spots. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising. Now, advertising is not where you've got the journalist reporting about you. This is actually where you are just paying for an ad, and you can say whatever you want in that ad, right? Magazines, a full-page color magazine ad is worth $4,000 roughly. And it's pretty much the same in America, same kind of rates in US dollars. Newspapers, full-page newspapers, $10,000 to $100,000 people are paying for newspaper ads. Yellow Pages, a full page ad in the Yellow Pages, $30,000 plus for anyone still doing Yellow Pages advertising. There's a ridiculous amount. Have you done advertising? If you're on this live Zoom right now, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Have you done any traditional advertising? And if you have, how well has it worked for you? Please pop in the chat. Have you done that? Now with digital advertising, what about digital advertising? So many people are doing Facebook advertising. How well is that working for you? If you are doing that. Now, generally speaking, I work, with people I've worked with at seminars, generally about 1 in 4 people, digital advertising, like Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, YouTube advertising, it's only about 1 in 4 people it's working really well for. And there's a whole lot of different variables that are constantly changing. Facebook's changing their algorithms all the time. So much is changing in the world of social media. And a lot of people are just throwing money down the drain when it comes to digital advertising or with any advertising. So everything I teach is organic. I don't pay for any advertising whatsoever. Organic strategies, free strategies. There's so much you can do without wasting any money on advertising. So why free publicity? Well, apart from being free, it's actually worth 3 to 8 times more in value than advertising. Now, there's lots of online sources that will state 3, 5, 8 times in value. And so for the purposes of today, we're talking about how to gain $1 million worth of free publicity. So we'll just times the value of what you would pay for ads. We'll times it by 5 to keep the figures simple today with what we're sharing. It also builds credibility. Now, credibility is massive. Now, we know that there's billions of dollars of online scams that are happening, right? So particularly now, if you're looking to put more out online, then you want to be thinking about how can you build your credibility. Now, if you feature in media outlets versus one of your competitors that has no media coverage, you are automatically going to be seen as more credible. You are going to be building your trust. Trust is huge too. And trust, another thing to build trust, look at Google reviews, look at testimonials. If you haven't got Google reviews on your business page online, I highly recommend get Google reviews, Google for Business online. Start building your reviews on LinkedIn. Anyone in business, you must be on LinkedIn. I highly, highly recommend be on LinkedIn if you're not, or do more on LinkedIn. Over 80% of people on LinkedIn are business owners or decision makers. So really, there's a massive potential there. Celebrity status, you're automatically going to have more celebrity status as well by gaining free publicity. The other beauty of publicity is you can target your message to your ideal clients. So this is really, really powerful. When you think about your avatar or the best kind of client that you want to work with, you can target your message to where that client is hanging out. What kind of media are they consuming? And you will naturally increase your traffic, your leads, and your sales. And you'll be able to charge more for what you do as well. Now, the other thing is, did you know that there's 22 times more views of stories versus ads? 22 times more. And if you think about how you consume the media, when you put the TV on, what happens when an ad comes on, or when the ads come on? What happens? Do you kind of go, oh, I wonder what ad's coming up next? Do you do that? No, you don't. No, you switch off, don't you? So you might go to the bathroom, you'll make a cup of tea, or you'll just switch off. And yet people are wasting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on advertising. And what about radio advertising, right? You might be driving around, the radio's on, and you're listening to a great song, and then the bloody ads come on, right? What do? You'd switch off, you change channel, you turn the damn thing off, don't you, generally? Yes, that's what happens. So hopefully today will inspire you not to waste any more money on advertising, and actually to use this amazingly powerful strategy of free publicity and also mass media marketing. Now, the media needs your story. Every single day, they are looking for stories. Now, when I was working as a journalist at the Gold Coast Bulletin, there was 2 meetings that we had every single day with the editor. There was about 10 of the top journalists. Now, the Gold Coast Bulletin was the daily paper that came out Monday to Saturday. There's about 40,000 to 80,000 copies that came out, 40,000 during the week, about 80,000 on a Saturday. Now, you times the readership by 3 to 4 times that, right? So with 80,000, you times it by, say, 4. So about 300,000 readers on a Saturday. During the week, you'd have maybe about 150,000 roughly readers. So what we'd have every single day, 2 meetings. And the editor would say to the top journalist, say, right, what 3 stories have you got for us today? Now, as a journalist with a Monday to Saturday paper, every single day we had to come up with 3 great stories of people in our local area that were doing great things. Now, even though we had about 500 press releases that came our way every single day, a lot of them were crap. A lot of them were not relevant to what we were doing. We would get press releases from Perth for a Gold Coast publication. We don't care about what's happening in Perth unless it's a Perth person that's coming to speak on the Gold Coast, right? So to find a relevant local story was actually really challenging at times for journalists. And this is the field you're working in. This is what you need to understand, is when you're pitching your stories to journalists, you need to think about what is it that they're looking for? What is it that their media specializes in? So this is what happened. That's the behind the scenes of what was happening. And at times, do you know, the letters to the editor section, at times we didn't have enough letters to the editor, and the editor would do a call out to all journalists, please write a letter to the editor because we don't have enough. And so we'd put our own opinion pieces into the letters to the editor section, right? Because there weren't enough that came in from the public. So the media is actually calling out for your opinion. They actually want your opinion. There's a lot of opportunity there when to put yourself forward, actually just say what you want to say about whatever it is that's going on in the world. In fact, a lot of times with radio stations, they will actually do a call out and say, call in and speak about whatever you like, particularly when, it's a show that's on early in the morning, like 2 a.m. Often, not that I drive around often at 2 a.m., but, I am a bit of a night owl. So sometimes, I'm driving around, and if I'm on a radio station and they say just dial in about anything and speak about anything, I will dial in. And I can tell you at that time in the morning that I always get through. Every single time I get through and I'm able to say what I want to say. And I'm on national radio saying it. Right? And even if it's controversial, which at times I have put some controversial content on there, what happens when you talk controversially is that what happens is the next few callers call up and say, oh, that person that said that, I want to comment on that. And then you end up with another half hour worth of free publicity around whatever it is you're talking about, because you're getting people talking about whatever it is you're talking about, right? So, so very interesting, a lot of opportunity there too. Opportunity is huge, as we're saying. It's absolutely massive. And now what's happening is more people are going online with their stories. There's actually a bigger gap now that needs filling with traditional media. Because the fact is, even though some regional papers have closed down recently, actually end of June, a few of the regional papers have closed down, the major papers are still going around Australia, right? And what's happening now is that more and more is being, online with subscribers and etc., right? So things are just changing format. Magazines, I don't think they're going to go anywhere fast. I mean, sure, we've had Dolly Magazine, have now got online. They've got more than 2 million followers online. Elle Magazine recently closed, however, they've gone online. So there's different formats happening. However, it's kind of like a book. People still want to have a physical copy of a book rather than an ebook, right? Or an e-magazine, or, people still like to consume and have that touchy-feely thing when it comes to books and magazines. So things are shifting, but they're shifting fairly slowly in that field. And there's still massive opportunity there. And journalists are really, really busy people. Now, there's a 5-year burnout with journalists. 5-year burnout. So that means they only last in the industry generally for 5 years, and then they're either stressed or whatever. In fact, a lot of senior journalists that I worked with, a lot of them died in their early 60s of cancer because it was such high adrenaline, you know, day after day, having to pump these stories out. It became, you know, like a word factory for me in the end. I was working at the Gold Coast Sun for 5 years. And when I started there, I was, you know, in 2000, I started there, I was doing 5 stories a week. By the time I finished in 2005, I was doing 30 stories a week. That was about 10,000 words a week I was pumping out of different stories as a journalist. It was really like a word factory. And this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with really, really busy people. So the more you can help them with what they're doing, the more they're going to absolutely love you, and they're going to come back to you looking for more comment when they need stories. And this happens again and again with my clients as they get called. You know, I've had clients on Channel 7, Channel 9, when that journalist needs a story again, they want an expert in that field, they will come back to their source. They'll come back to you as an expert. Once they know you, they can come back to you. So with your PR campaign, you need to think about what product or service do you want to promote or sell? And also think about with this, what's your story around that? Why is it that you are in the business that you're currently in? Or why is it that you want to promote that product or service? Or why is it that you want to get a certain message out about something, or maybe impact a charity? Or, you know, why is it that you want to do that? And most likely, I would say there will be some kind of personal story for you as to why you do what you do. So when you're starting your PR campaign, this is like building the foundation of your house. It's very important to have a solid foundation and really brainstorm this. And what may happen for you is that, you know, each month or 3 months or so, there might be something different that you want to promote, right? But just starting with right now, with where you're at right now, what is it? If you could just get one thing out in the media right now, what would that be for you? Would anyone like to share? Actually, I'd love to see. Would anyone like to share? What would that thing be for you? What would you love to get media about right now? You can just unmute yourself if you like. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yes. Yes, who have we got there? Who's sharing? Someone's unmuted. I heard it. Was that you, Christian?
I think it was Stephen, I think, who wanted to share. Is this correct?
You go good, Christian. It's fine.
Okay, so for me, it's because I've written a book and I haven't really done a lot of, how would you say that, advertisement around it. And I think it would be beneficial for people to know about my book and to be able to sell a few copies. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. So while you're here, what is your book, Christian?
My book is called Health Dynamics, and the subtitle is A Unique Principle of Self-Healing. And I wrote it as a result of me healing myself from diabetes about 5 years ago. And this is how it has encouraged me to help women over 40 regain their health and get back to their ideal weight and get their beach body back.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you look amazing for 120, actually, Christian. You're just looking phenomenal, I must say. I want to have that anti-aging stuff that you're on.
I'll let you know about it sometime.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Christian. That's wonderful. And you do amazing weight loss programs too, or you know, helping ladies.
Yes, a program that really helps people lose weight safely, and taking nutrition supplements to actually keep their muscle mass, and also, their skin is much better after the program. So it's a really good program, that I'd recommend everybody to have a look and see if they want to lose weight. That would be the way to go.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you for sharing. Love it, love it. And Stephen, would you like to unmute yourself and share what you'd like to promote to the media?
Yeah, thanks, Aldwyn. Mine's as a young manager, when I was working for a large organisation, I stuffed it up and got sacked as a result of it. And it was because of my not because I'm a bad person, but I just didn't know how to manage people properly. And so for the last 30 years, what I've been doing is a personal development and becoming better at that. So my passion is to take bullying out of the workplace and creating a safe place for people to come to work in. Simon Sinek promotes this philosophy, so I guess I'm a disciple of his, but I've been doing this for 30 years, so I feel as though he's copied me, not me copying him.
He probably has.
He's just packaged it a lot better than I have. Yeah, so I'm, you know, and I've lived it. I've been on both sides of it. I've been a victim of bully not that long ago. I worked in an organisation where the chairman of the organisation was a bully, and I had to protect my staff from that. And so I'm trying to get people to shift their way of thinking about staff, and for it not to be a adversarial, that's an adult to adult conversation. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Very cool. That's great, Stephen. That is a really hot topic, not just bullying in the workplace, but, cyberbullying, which can happen too. Cyberbullying is really huge at the moment. And you could tie in what you're doing currently with what's going on cyberbullying wise, even within workplace cyberbullying that's happening online. That's a very hot topic. And, there's a great saying that I heard once, and it's hurt people hurt people. And I think it's important to remember that, because often we can tend to take things very personally. I mean, I've been bullied over the years, as I've said. I had, as a first generation Australian, I was bullied because the food I took to school was different, because my name was different, because I looked different, because whatever. And often it comes from jealousy. There's often a lot of people that are jealous, and they just want to have a go because it makes them feel better or whatever. And so with those people, you just want to send them compassion and love, right? From a distance. You don't have to hang out with those people, but being able to communicate, I think everything can be resolved with communication as well. So I'm sure you would have some amazing strategies around that, Stephen, that could really help a lot of people. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. One more person. Who else would like to share? What would you like to promote to the media? Francis, hello, welcome.
Hello there, everybody. Sorry I was late.
Okay, where are you coming from, Francis?
I caught up very quickly. I'm a public speaking coach, Aldwyn, and my passion is that there are so many people now who have had their confidence crushed, absolutely crushed in the current environment. And I won't use unprecedented. And in terms of my programs are based on transforming fear into confidence. But for me, there needs to be an extra layer when someone has had their entire life changed. And for me, it's taking the step to say, I'm still worthy. I'm still a worthy person. And my fear is okay. I can deal with the fear, but reinforcing the worthiness of everybody who's standing up to have another go, to go for a job or to ask for whatever it is that they need. So that's one of my passions currently.
Wonderful, Francis. That is brilliant. And being a public speaking coach, I hope you're not adding up all my ums and ahs like they do in Toastmasters.
Nope. Only kindness. Yeah. I'm listening. Yeah.
No pressure. No. Okay. Wonderful, Francis. And where are you based?
Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane. Great. Well, confidence is huge, isn't it? It's really huge for everything you do in life, isn't it? If you have no confidence, you'll end up possibly depressed and not achieving what you can achieve and leaving a legacy and making a difference for others. So that's massive, Francis. So a lot of opportunity with that. With all of three of you sharing so far, there is so much opportunity for you to get publicity. Really wonderful. Anyone else dying to share on that one? Because I'd love to hear actually what all of you are up to, what you want to get publicity for. Anyone else like to share? Margie? Yes.
Yeah, I'll share.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a book as well that I'm not, you said right now, so that's why I was like, I'll sit back. But so my book's not quite ready. I'm in the final stages of editing and trying to sort through the maze of how to publish a book and all of that sort of thing. But when it's ready to be promoted, then, and I'm sort of looking at holding it back until after this COVID crisis is over, so that I can do a book tour and get out there and use it to launch more public speaking opportunities. So yeah, my book is called Beloved, and it's about remembering. Hang on, let me get the subtitle right. remembering, discovering and creating who you really are as you journey through life. And and I intend for some of the profits to go towards the Cambodian Children's Trust, because I'm really passionate about helping children in Cambodia. When I went to high school, my first friends that I met there at this school were Sing On and Sing Horn. They were Cambodian twins, and they had come to Australia because their father was an educated man, and so he, with Pol Pot and everything, it was just not viable for them to stay, and they managed to escape. And so I've always been passionate about it, and I wanted to get over there to see Angkor Wat and just really make a difference. I've got a background in early childhood teaching, and not realising what I know now, I had wanted to go and work in an orphanage over there, but I don't believe that's the answer anymore. And I'm more interested in having children stay with their families, and the Cambodian Children's Trust, that's the work that they do over there, is that they help family units to stay together. They empower the children, they break the cycles, they give them education, they provide the things that they need, and give them the structures to be able to support themselves in life. So I think that's really important. I'm also about to launch a new side business to what I do. I'm a celebrant, so I perform weddings and baby namings and funerals. I'm really, really passionate about funerals, and I'm about to launch a business where I will be doing eulogy writing, and that will be all across Australia, so nationwide, where there'll be questionnaires that the people fill out, and that within a short time frame I can turn that around to write eulogies for people. Because obviously it's one of the most important public speaking gigs you'll have in your life, and I know from experience with my brides and grooms that and brides and grooms that they when I say to them, are you going to write your own vows, they're like, oh, we'd like to, but we're not really sure. And then sometimes I have to write them for them. Sometimes I have to take their dot points and then try and write it in their voice and make it sound special. And sometimes I just have to give them extra assistance, and that's fine, but there's no time pressures for them in doing that. And there's also, whereas with a funeral, you've got maybe 3 days, 4 days, and there's no layer of grief sitting down on top of them. So if I can give basic information and then turn that into something magical, then that's what I want to do. So that's something new as well. So that's the kind of things I'm looking at getting publicity for.
Great, Margie. That is brilliant. Fantastic. You've got lots going on. And where are you based, Margie?
I'm in the Hunter Valley area, so I'm near Newcastle.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I was just down in the Hunter Valley actually last year. We're doing a book launch for Almithia, which is a science fiction feature, and the author is from the Hunter Valley area. So, yeah, fantastic. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. Thank you, Margie. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. Love it, love it, love it. And so much opportunity with everything you're doing. That is really brilliant. All right, well, let's move on with the presentation.
Can I speak? It's Linda.
Oh, yes, Linda. Sure.
Hello. I just wanted to say hello to everybody, and hello to Margie. That was really incredible, all the work that you've actually done and are doing. I'm highly passionate about people that can actually help others to communicate. I think it's just the best thing ever. So tiny little bit about me. My sister has had a similar background to Aldwyn, but I was always considered the one that wasn't the writer or communicator, but I've written 8 books and now about 13 e-learning programs over the last 10 years. So online business is my thing and has been for 10 years. And I suppose I'm a teacher and I help people to get to where they need to be, but having actually had to bring together my 2 grandparents' funerals in the last 6 years, and they were my best friends, and I had to do it and my sister had to do it, but I was the most together. I did have to be articulate during that time, and it was not that easy, but such an honour to do so. So I think you do great work just in that. But in terms of media and me and moving forward and all the rest of it, I am highly passionate about good women across the Western world actually making incredible money with their services and what they do. So whether they be, and usually they are women in their late 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond, with their modalities actually being extremely well paid. And this was something that I had to learn to do 10 years ago, and we were flying blind. There was no help at that point in time. So now I'm extremely passionate, especially considering that many of these good women are actually losing their jobs, whether they be nurses, teachers, chiropractors, massage therapists, beauticians, and this is men as well, obviously, with all these massive shifts in people not being able to touch people now and maybe for the foreseeable future, we just don't know. How can they actually pivot, change, have other modalities or bring other modalities to the fore where they're actually well paid online? So I'm extremely passionate about that. And most of all, just them being really well paid. Just because you love your job, you love your modality, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be well paid for it. So that's it for now.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Linda. Thank you so much for sharing. And you are such an inspiration. You know, Linda has a massive tribe. She teaches people how to do online courses and build funnels and all that sort of stuff. So thank you for being here, Linda. It's great you've taken time out of your busy day to be here. I know how flat out you are.
No drama. And Friday afternoon's not my favourite bit of the week or day. And it's a miracle we even know what day it is down here in Melbourne at the moment, as they all mash into one at the moment. But yeah. But it's, you know, it's really is time to rise. So Aldwyn has some incredible ideas and ways moving forward, but it does take consistency. And I think the biggest thing that with my success online and why I've been able to create such massive businesses online without understanding what technology was 10 years ago, I do now, was my fact that I could leave my ego completely at the door. It doesn't matter what I can write, what I can do. It's actually not about me at all. There's not one thing that's about me. It's actually about taking that person to what they want and where they need to go. And then understanding, just because I believe in a cause, if the market's not ripe and ready for it, you know, be willing to move that a little bit so that the market understands, and then we can grab it, take them where we want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
they're not always going to get you.
Yes.
I'd like to add something to this. I'm also doing Linda Morrison's program, and she gives massive value. She's really very committed, and so I'd encourage everybody to have a look at it. She's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
Christiane.
you. Thank you. And actually, I found out about Linda through Christiane. So there you go. So here we are, full circle. So that's wonderful. And please do, if you have just joined us, please pop your links in the chat, any, Facebook pages, or, how people can connect with you after this. So if you've resonated with something you've heard, it's always great to, to build connections, build relationships. Everything in life is done on relationships, right? We're never going to be a success on our own. And it could just be one person that could just take things exponentially for you. So you never know who people know as well. So I really encourage you to keep the relationships going after this webinar. Pop your links in the chat, and please do connect. But get back to Facebook after this event, right? We want to keep you here so you can get more and more content out of this amazing webinar. So let's move on. Thank you so much for everyone for sharing. Let's go back to the presentation now and keep going. All right. So what's your story? Now, when you look at what is your story, think about some of the lowest points that you've had in life and how you've come through them. Okay, some of the lowest points you've had in life and how you've come through them. Christiane, you want to share quickly on that one?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just, my hand hit the
raised hand. Okay.
Yes, apology.
But I know that you have an amazing story of how you've overcome diabetes. You have an amazing personal story. But the thing is, whatever hardship you've had, I always say at the end of every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. right? So whatever hardship you have, I think it happens for a reason. I think all the hardship we got, it happens for a reason. There's things we need to learn. And the universe, God, whatever you call it, will keep presenting challenges to us until we get whatever it is we're meant to get, right? So what are some of your challenges that you've had, and how have you overcome them? And now we'll just give Stephen Esser as an example. Now, Stephen Esser is someone I did some PR for about 5 years ago now, and he's known as the webinar guy. Now, Stephen, when he came to me, he'd been to some other PR people. Does anyone know Stephen here, actually? Just pop your hand up. Anyone know Stephen Esser here? Yes, Christian. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, Stephen S. I mean, he's so wealthy now that you don't see too much of him around anymore, because he pretty much plays golf all day and has this multi-million-dollar lifestyle, and just things are just going crazy for him. But anyway, Stephen, when he came to me, he was working quite a lot in the business, and he hadn't had any publicity with any other PR people he worked with. We sat down, we did an in-depth media consultation. We looked at the gems of his story, what were the standout points about his product, what he wanted to promote, and what was his story. Now, there were 3 angles that we came up with for Stephen. Now, one thing is he was doing what he called at the time a web business breakthrough event. He was helping offline businesses go online. And it was a free event he was doing across Australia and New Zealand. So that was a wonderful angle right there, because it's something that is of great service to the wider community. Now, there's a hot tip right there. What is it that you do that is of great service to the wider community? I guess that was one thing. The other thing is he had a great personal story. Now, part of his personal story is that 5 years previously, he was a panel beater in the western suburbs of Sydney, and he was pretty much broke, right? And then 5 years later now, with the power of webinars, he'd not only become a millionaire himself, but he'd helped a whole lot of other people become a millionaire. So how did he do that? So there's a great personal story there. In saying that, you don't have to be a millionaire to have a great personal story. There'll be some hardship you've overcome. Like for me, depression, the reason I'm passionate about good news, I had depression over the years. I've now overcome that. I've done years and years of personal development. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've invested heavily in myself. I've invested, $500,000 at least in my education since 2005. And I will keep investing, because you never learn less, right? So I think having a great team of people and mentors around you is really important. So that was the second angle. The third angle for Stephen was that he created some software to help automate webinars. So then now, we had a great technology angle for him. So there's 3 angles that we came out with for Stephen, which potentially those 3 angles could be pitched to different media as well. The technology one could go to technology media. The events he was running would be a general news story for media around in all those places where he was going to be speaking. And then his personal story is a great feature story that could actually go in just about any media, because just about any media out there, they love to interview interesting people who've had any kind of hardship. And if they don't know your story, then it's because you're still the world's best kept secret, right? So it's just that they don't know about you yet. So it's great that you're here, because obviously you're ready now to step up with your message, which is wonderful. And I'd love to support you on that journey. Now, the media can be overwhelming. Who feels it's a bit overwhelming here? Just show of hands there. Who feels it's a little bit overwhelming? Yes, Margie, yep. It can be really overwhelming, right? And sometimes you're like this little Tweety bird on the right here. Can you see this Tweety bird? You've got the left Tweety bird here is going chirp, chirp. The middle one's got all these hashtags and lols. It's like a whole other world with social media language, isn't it? And then the one on the right's going, what the fudge are you talking about, right? Who feels like this Tweety bird on the right is going, what the fudge? Who feels like that? Yeah, thank you. Well, that's right. Look, the beauty is, though, with even though social media can be like a whole other language sometimes, with traditional media, you actually need to put a story together as if a 14-year-old can understand it. Right? Now, this is very exciting. You don't need all that jargon. In fact, if anything, you want to take the jargon out of your messaging when it comes to traditional media, because the media needs to report as if 14-year-olds can understand that media. Unless it's an X-rated media you're going out to in general, of course, right? Which I'm sure you're not going to be going out to X-rated media. But, generally speaking, mass media, you need to have your messaging and your press releases and your marketing messages as if a 14-year-old can understand. So I'm sure we can all do that, right? We're all over 14 here. We can all do that. So the next thing, once you're clear on your product or service, you then need to package it up. Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do a press release. Okay, now you don't have to do a press release to get publicity. In fact, there's many times that I've had publicity or clients have had publicity without a press release. However, because journalists are so busy, if you do not do a press release, you increase the chances of them getting the facts wrong. Okay, so I highly, highly recommend, you want to make their job easier for them. Make it easier by writing the story for them. They love that. In fact, many times with press releases that are well written, they will just copy and paste the press release. And then they'll come back to you looking for more press releases. That's what happens when you do a good press release. Photos, you need photos and visuals with all media nowadays, okay? Even with radio, because radio are putting stories up on their social media and on their websites. You need photos or visuals. TV is all about visuals, right? They need good visuals. Newspapers, magazines, of course, visuals. Anything in the online world, you need visuals. You need good words and you need photos or visuals, right? So what sort of photos could you put together that are relevant for the angle that you're putting out with your press release, the main angle, the main thing you want to promote? What are some photos and visuals that could go with that? Now, with a press release, you know, I could do a whole one-day workshop just on press releases, right? But just some essential, crucial things to know about a press release is that it needs to be a one-page document. You need to have a snappy headline. Your headline is really, really crucial. You need a really snappy headline. Your first paragraph has to get the journalist's attention. If you don't get the journalist's attention, the first paragraph and the headline, you will lose them. And that needs to cover the who, what, where, when, why. You need to get straight to the point. The journalist just wants to know what is going on, okay? It's very different to blog writing. For anyone that's done blogs, often people put the main point of the story right at the bottom of the press release or of the story. You can't do that with press releases. You've got to have the main points at the beginning of the press release. And another thing your press release must include is contact details, okay? You need to have a website that they can point to at the end and media contact section only at the beginning. Have a phone number there somewhere, because journalists, often they're on deadline. They just want to be able to pick up the phone and talk to the source. And sometimes journalists will call you from a private number. So if you're putting media out, if you're putting press release out, you want to be answering private numbers at that point, because often journalists will call from private number. There's another hot tip for you, okay? If you miss that opportunity, then they'll go off to the next person, right? So you want to be able to be on call after you get a press release out. And then pitch. Now you've got 15 seconds to get the journalist's attention when you're doing a phone pitch, right? 15 seconds. You just need to be really, really quick. Okay, so you need to say exactly what's going on, where, you know, and need to be very, very succinct about it. Now, journalists will talk very fast, right? Now, having been a journalist for over 20 years, you know, one of the first jobs I got actually was, I was a journalist with the Daily Mercury in Mackay. And I remember one of the senior reporters said to me, Aldwyn, you need a sense of urgency about you. And it's interesting, I was just watching a Brendan Burchard video yesterday. Who knows Brendan Burchard here? I think he's amazing, guy from America. He was saying that high performers have a sense of urgency about them too. Isn't that interesting? High performers. If you want to be a high performer in life, you need a sense of urgency. There's no time to waste, right? We want to make the most of life. And that's what this is all about, you know, leveraging yourself, leveraging the impact you make. So they're the three crucial things you need when you're packaging up what you're doing. And then target your message to the right market. So with your avatar, with your ideal client, what media are they consuming? Do you know what media they're consuming? If you don't, ask them, right? You could do a Survey Monkey. Survey Monkey is a free online marketing tool, right? So you can do a Survey Monkey survey and you can ask your clients, what media are they loving? What TV shows are they loving? What radio shows? What magazines are they reading? What podcasts are they listening to? And often what you'll find is it's the same kind of media that you're consuming as well. Now there's some campaign idea joggers here for you. I've actually got 9 campaign ideas. I'd love you to write this down or make a note of this somewhere, because these are absolute gold, these campaign idea joggers. So the first thing is you can provide a unique solution to something that is currently in the media. Okay, what's a unique solution you can provide for something in the media? An award angle. Have you won any awards? If you have, do people know about it, right? And even if it's an old award, you can still put that into your marketing today, right? So what sort of awards have you won? And if you haven't won awards, there's a million different awards out there. Just apply for some. A lot of people don't even apply for them. You know, just apply for them, you'll probably get it. So just, you know, start looking for awards in your field that you can start applying for. Controversy. Now, I love controversy, I must say. And the media absolutely loves controversy as well. They love stories that get people talking. They want to not only entertain and educate, they actually want both, right? So not just educate, they want to entertain. It's edutainment now is what we're looking at, right? They want to talk about things that get people talking. Now, in the health field, if I mention just the word vaccinations, okay, what comes up for you? I'm sure you would have an opinion right now on vaccinations. If I say forced vaccinations, you're going to have another opinion on that, right? So that's just an example of a controversial topic in the health field. Okay, what's a controversial topic? I'd love to hear from you. In your field, what is a controversial topic that people talk about a lot? Who'd like to unmute themselves and just share? What is a controversial topic that is getting people talking right now? What is being reported on in your industry? What's controversial? Linda.
Hi, do you think it's that women are pivoting faster as breadwinners now that things are changing? This is what I'm actually finding. I'm about to go out to being the sociologist that I am, I'm about to go out to my 10,000 strong and do a survey to actually bring in this information, because it's actually been my observation. So I just want to know a bit more about that, because they are pivoting really quickly. They are making changes, but I think that they're used to that. For whatever reason, whether they've stepped in and out of being a mother, not a mother, a mother, not a mother, commercial work, not commercial work, stay at home working. And that's what I've always done. I've always worked, but I've actually been in the home, but I've always provided, and as it turns out, provided better than people who've actually taken jobs and put their kids in childcare while I've had my kids at my knees, if that makes sense. So this is what they're all now doing. This is a massive, massive global situation. And if being a mother or a grandmother or a stay-at-home grandmother worker as well, caregiver to our extended family, cousins, kids, whatever we're doing, how are they actually making the wheels still turn? And this is massive.
Absolutely. I think that is a really hot topic, Linda. I think that's a really good one. And if you can tie that in with statistics, even better, right? So find some recent statistics on that, how women are starting to earn more, etc. That would be, or even just what you've noticed as a coach or as a mentor, what have you noticed with your clients? Even that would work for media because it's your experience, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
We're about to do a survey. Well, who wants to be part of it?
Awesome. Yeah, I want to be part of that.
Aldwyn, could I comment on that?
Yes, absolutely, Stephen.
Because my wife and I, when we had our first child, we had to make a decision as to who would be the breadwinner. And at the time, I was the one that was earning the most money. But that changed over a period of time. And when I ran my own business, I was actually the stay-at-home dad working from home in a business whilst my wife was out working. So I wonder whether in that story, whether there's the pivot is the woman. And my daughter is going through that very thing at the moment. She's the breadwinner and her partner is now starting to become the one who's actually earning more money. So they're going almost in reverse and they're having that challenge. But I wonder whether the role of the partners in this is the bigger story.
100%, yeah. So it's the role in the mores. It's a role in the mores, isn't it? So I'll just turn my little video on because I'm not embarrassed, but I'm just being my glamorous self. So it's
now we can see you.
Yeah.
So I think that the role really is that it's the role in the mores. So who's quicker to pivot and change? And when I was a stay-at-home with 2 little kids, I worked harder then than I've ever worked in establishing our offline businesses, which were wellness practices at that time, and they did extremely well. Had I not done that role with the kids to be the, face of the business, plus all the other behind-the-scenes work, it wouldn't have happened. And now it's like these industries that are able to pivot quicker are going to do better than the big industries that it's like you can't turn the Titanic around that quick, can you? But you can turn people around who are the entrepreneurs, which is why I've always believed in entrepreneurship, because they'll get it quicker, but also they'll take care of what's most important, which is looking after themselves and then others. They produce every day. Entrepreneurs produce every single day. Then from there, they do want to set up a lifestyle and a business that actually takes care of their children and others. Children, extended family. If you don't have your own children, then it's aunts and uncles and whoever else that you're looking after. We're all looking after loads of people, let's face it. It's that whole community. And then from there, if you've got resources in surplus, you look after everybody. Right? What else do you look after all of that? So it all kind of shines from there. But if women having children are not supported in that time, whether it be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever they need, then actually where do communities go? And to rush the way it was 5 minutes ago, you got to stick him in childcare generally, after 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever, then go back to work. And then COVID happened. Oh, well, you take them out of childcare and you go back home and you've got to work anyway. So go there, go there, go there. So we're still back at what works best for us and what works best for me, because I know I'm more productive when I'm happy. So that has been for me, that to have my kids right behind me for the last 20 years. So they know to wait for mummy while she's on a business call. They know that they've got to organise their own dinner. I said to them years ago, unless something's burning down or you're choking, do not disturb me. Work it out. So now kids need to learn this, right? Families need to learn this if things are still going to be chugging along. This is all a really interesting big deal at the moment. And I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way about it. But actually, the businesses willing to and able to pivot the fastest and create what the market needs right now is going to be the most lucrative. That's what I'm interested in, whether it's a man, a woman, a family, or anybody. That's what I'm really, really, really super interested in at the moment, because online is like fashion. It is like fashion. Like media. It's like fashion, like fitness, like weight loss. It's like fashion. You've got to be able to move really, 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 really quickly.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who's at the helm. The man, the woman, who's making the most money, who says that they're the breadwinner, that's their business in that what is it? That family, whatever you call it, that family, whatever.
The family.
Unfortunately, there's a stigma. So if the woman earns more than the man, there's a stigma. If the man stays with the children at home, there's a stigma. I don't agree with it. I think it's a team effort.
It's fascinating. Look, thank you so much for sharing that, Linda, and thank you for sharing Stephen on that. And I really would love you guys to actually chat after this, because what happens with a great topic like this, if Linda's going out saying there's more female breadwinners in families, and Stephen says, well, that's actually happened in my family, the two of you could end up on a TV show together, collaborating.
And do you know what? I'm not even really saying that. If I'm being misquoted straight away, that's okay.
Yep.
I'll take it. But I'm not even really saying that. What I'm actually saying is, if it has to be that way for the moment, ain't that cool? But I've got to say that my family broke down when I did want to earn a lot.
Right.
Because it wasn't the moray.
Got it. Yeah.
So my doctor husband couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think that's right either. But isn't it interesting? Because I grew up with mums and grandmothers that never worked in paid employment. Why do I want to?
Yeah. Oh, look, there's so many topics that I mean, we can really go down the rabbit hole with this one. But, you know, what I love is that you're passionate. See the passion coming out. See how we're talking about this. You could chat about this for another hour, no problem, right?
Well, follow the money.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter as long as everyone's happy. But I have worked with women who've said to me, Linda, I need to be back in the workforce 4 weeks after giving birth. I have to.
Yes, yes. So that's a sign of the
time off. I don't think that's right either.
Yeah, well, that's a sign of the times. See, that's very current. That's actually current commentary, Linda.
Yeah.
So that's a hot topic as well.
So, Aldwyn, can I say something on what Stephen shared? I was on the phone with some guy doing some marketing, and at some point in the conversation, he actually told me he was a single dad with 4 children. Like, wow, you know, like time's changing all the time. And I think Stephen mentioned that he actually had to do that so many years ago, which never happened. And so I so acknowledge you, Stephen, to be that dad and you and your wife working together to bring your children up. So it brings out, it is a bit of controversy, isn't it, subject, but it's always good to acknowledge the father, the man who actually take on the job and really take care of their kids. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. Yes. Linda, you want to say something else on that?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's a global pivot at the moment, but I think it's been something that's been going on for about 25 years. So there's already been one generation born to all of this, and we still haven't quite.
Yes.
You know, it's really.
I add something to it too, because you're sort of hitting on something that's here in the States as well. I know just from having different female friends and whatnot, they're very aggravated by the situation because a lot of the women have gone to school, they've gotten educated, they've gotten their businesses, they're the career woman and so forth. But a lot of the men that they're looking to date don't match up to their qualifications. So they're feeling very aggravated about finding men that they think are on their own level from a economic stance. And that could be possibly another angle that you may want to work out when you're doing your media there.
That's what's your name? Sorry.
It's Jim Stroud.
Hi, Jim. Linda.
Hey,
so
Linda.
That's super interesting because women my age, and I'm coming up 50,
Okay.
will date.
Really? You look good.
Thanks.
not that Pat post 50 is bad. I'm just saying.
They will
don't want to get in trouble there.
So they will date. So women my age will date men who are 30 because often they've grown up with single mothers who've worked, and those men, so they're sons of women who've had mothers who've worked. They kind of get it, whereas men who might be 50 might not get it. So there's an interest. This is all this meshing of everything at the moment, but you can see it with everything that's actually going on, don't you think, in the media? Which is I watch and observe all the time. Look at the Kardashians. It's like you don't know which Kardashian you're looking at. Then you don't know what husband it is. Then you don't like all the kids look like, is that their sister, half sister, brother? Is that? It's like, what's going on here? And then is that their dad or their mum or their whatever? So there's like this whole meshing of everything, and in the end you don't know what you're working with, right? Which is what's actually happening around the world. So you know, it's okay to be 50 if you don't look 50. It's okay to be 40 if you look 20.
And you're also hitting on this phenomenon of, I don't know if they have it down under there, but this phenomenon called the cougar. A lot of older women are really capitalizing on younger men. I guess it's the pendulum has swung the other way.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Oh, who's the cougar here other than me? Who else? Cougars? Any other cougars?
Whatever. Yes. All right.
All of us.
I love it, Aldwyn.
Has this turned into a dating site now? I'm feeling very left out here because I'm obviously 20. This is a fascinating, and I mean, you know, there's a TV, not a TV show, but there's definitely an interview waiting to be happening to come out of it. For me, it's I mean, I'm very old school, and I grew up like you in my parents were Hungarian. They came out from the war. They didn't teach me Hungarian because they didn't want me to go to school with a accent because refugees were picked on.
Right.
You know, and so for me, if I relate it back to my industry, which is, working with businesses, but it has a broader context. It's about respect. It's in a relationship. Now, my wife and I, we're not married anymore, but we had the best divorce. We seriously did, because every decision that we made had to be in the interest of the children. So it wasn't us; it was our children. And we're still really good friends. We go to dinner. She's married, and so it's about being respectful for the other person or the other people in your lives, and not being judgmental, and putting your ego in your pocket, and just be happy for other people. Be grateful. I mean, it's not complicated, but we overcomplicate it. And 30 years ago, when Goleman wrote Emotional Intelligence, that was woo-woo land. 30 years ago, we haven't progressed.
Yeah.
We haven't learned anything in 30 years. In fact, if anything, we've gone backwards, because we're now using social media as a curtain to hide behind. Now it's easy to be bullied because everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's opinion's right. It just happens to be different. Yeah. So and this is, for me, this is in the workplace. Be respectful. You can be the boss or you can be the janitor, but you can't earn, you can't ask for respect. You have to earn it.
It's about what works, don't you think? So what's the fastest way? And I've done this too. I didn't do this at 20, but I do it now at this age. I go,
yeah, sorry, Linda, I don't think it's what works, it's what's authentic. Because sometimes it takes a lot of effort. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort and time.
If you want a result in anything, it has to be about what works. So you go, right, I don't agree with what you're saying, but actually what works to take us all forward.
Yep.
Because as an educated person, I'm committed to what takes us all forward to a result.
That's something a compromise.
Else, a better place. So everyone's offended at the moment, right? Everyone's offended and they go, I'm offended, and then they just go away. That's not useful.
No.
That's not useful in the media. It's not useful in anything. You know what?
So, Aldwyn, you need to interview us.
Yes.
On your TV station. I don't know where it'll go.
That would be such a great discussion. I'd love to watch this.
Oh, this is amazing. I think we'll have a panel show out of this at the end of this. This is
I love a show. You should do a show, Aldwyn.
New program for you, Aldwyn. That's right. New program.
I think Linda and Stephen, we'll get you two together. We'll do a show together. I think that'll be amazing. And Jim, we'll want to hear what's happening in America as well. Look, the thing is, you can collaborate with people and do a show easily. Now, Jim, we cut you off before. I'm sorry. What were you saying there, Jim?
Oh, no. I was just hitting. I hit nothing.
Oh,
I hit
okay.
the button by mistake.
Right, yeah, I need to move on because I just realized the time, and I mean, we could chat all day on this one topic. So thank you so much for sharing, everyone who's shared so far. And this is exactly the point I was making. This is what media love. Media love stories that get people talking, that have controversial points of view out there where everyone thinks they're right, as Stephen said. Everyone thinks they're right. They've all got their own opinion. And I say, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Just be kind to others, be kind. Everyone's coming from the place.
We actually agree. I think most people agree more than they disagree. It's just that the current media want everyone to disagree. But I think most people agree with most stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. And that's coming from love versus fear. And this is what we need to do as human beings right now. We need to collaborate, come together, despite our differences, opinions, or come together, collaborate, because the power is in the people. Even though there's 1% ruling the world right now, the power is in the 99%. So now more than ever, it is time for us to collaborate, come together from a loving space, compassionate space, kind space, come together and unite as a people. That's what I believe. So I'm going a bit sidetracked here, but I really have a lot more content to cover. And I really want to get into it. Thank you so much for sharing. I absolutely love that. We could keep on chatting, but let's get back to the content because there's still heaps to cover. We've got about half an hour left. So campaign idea jog. So controversy, we got stuck on controversy, right? Another controversial topic. Now, here's another controversy, just very quickly. I was emceeing for for a group called the Sanctuary Refuge. It was a women's refuge here on the Gold Coast for women and children. And at the event where we were launching the event, there was a few hundred people in the room. It was in Burleigh Heads. And I remember saying at the time, there was only 4 guys there in the whole room. And I said, look, my heart also goes out to the men who've been abused by women. Now, there's another controversial topic, right? Because there's a lot of men have been physically, mentally, emotionally abused by women as much as women have been abused by men. And you know what? Those 4 guys came up to me after this event and they said, thank you so much for saying that, you know, because this is the thing. There's always an alternative point of view to everything that's going on, right? So it's important to sort of get that everyone is in the space they're in, and hurt people, right? So whoever it is, whether it's male, female, whatever, that's hurt, those people are hurting and they probably need help. If they're being abusive, there could be unresolved stuff from their past. Maybe they were abused as kids. You don't know what's going on for people. But the thing is no matter what happens out there, is you can choose how you're going to respond. It's like COVID right now. We're being told we have to do this and have to do that and wear the mask and, not go out at certain times and blah, 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 right? Okay, there's certain things we can't control right now. What we can control is the messaging we're putting out and how we're going to be about it as a people, right? And are we going to collaborate, and are we going to come from a loving, empowered place, or are we going to come from fear, which is how the 1% want us to live, right? Divide and rule. That's what they want. So anyway, I digress again on controversy. But anyway, let's move on from controversy. Let's just move right along, shall we? Okay, next point. All right, here we go. Okay, new statistics. What new statistics are there in your industry? What are some new statistics you can present, whether it's abuse or whether it's on animals? One of the fundraisers I did was for koalas. And one of the statistics I put out with that press release is, did you know there's only 50,000 koalas left in the wild in Australia? And now since the fires, it'll be even less now, probably half that, because half the population's been decimated. Now it'll probably be 25,000 koalas left in the wild, right? Statistics. What are some statistics you can present? Koalas are critically endangered. And this is what we're doing about it with the animal action events that we're doing. So any negative can be turned to a positive. It's like the yin yang of life, right? So negatives are not something to be feared. There's something to look at and go, okay, that's interesting. Okay, what's the opposite point of view there? What's a different point of view on that? What's some light we can shed on this topic, right? And right now, through the media are clamoring for stories right now of positive stories since COVID. And I actually just put in a request yesterday for a story, and I've now got a TV interview lined up already, right? In 24 hours of media looking for positive stories. So it's not actually true that all mainstream media are negative. And in fact, a lot of media campaigns we've been going out with recently, the journalists I've been talking to have actually been saying, thank goodness there's a positive story out of all this, The journalists are on our side, right? It's only the ones that rule, that control the media, the Illuminati, call it conspiracy theory, call it what you like, you do your own research. The ones that rule the world, I believe, are the ones that want us living in fear and living small lives. Okay, and hence they're trying to dumb us down in lots of different ways, right? Fluoride in the water supply, vaccination, lots of different ways they're trying to dumb people down. And so we need to rise above that now. Time to rise above. Current commentary is a hot one. COVID. What are the great things coming out of COVID? What are you going to do now through COVID to turn things around? I started the Global Good News Challenge, right? Why not? We want more good news. When you get into gratitude, there is no space for misery, right? Just 3 simple things you can be grateful for. In fact, why not now, right now in the chat, just share 3 things you're grateful for today. What are 3 things you're grateful for? Put it out in text. It's incredibly powerful writing it down. It's even more powerful when you speak it out. Okay, you can join the Global Good News Challenge anytime you like. Share 3 things you're grateful for publicly. You lift your energy. You lift the energy of those around you immediately. It is a simple thing, incredibly powerful. Okay, current commentary. The underdog. You can be the underdog in an issue. Okay, when the whole world is saying one thing, where can you present a different point of view? A hero angle, 0 to hero. How have you overcome some hardship? There's a great angle right there. Any type of hardship. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Just where you've had a low point in your life, which if you're a human being, no doubt there would be at least one low point that you can think of right now where you've had a low point, and how have you overcome it? The fact that you're here right now and you haven't gone and killed yourself means that you've actually overcome a hardship without wanting to take your own life, right? So how have you done that? There'll be a process you went through to recover from that. Celebrity, have a celebrity angle. The media loves celebrities. They're always covering celebrities. Now, if you don't know any celebrities personally, you can align yourself with a charity or a cause that has a celebrity that they already work with. A lot of causes have celebrities that endorse those causes. So what sort of causes could you align with where there's a celebrity that you could also have access to through that charity? And then picture opportunity, visuals, so important. You could have a very average story, but if you have good visuals, the media are going to love you. They love entertaining people with great pictures and great visuals. So where can you make your media release or your media campaign? How can you make it exciting and visual and colorful where you get people's attention? You know, what's something different you could do? Now, here's an example of the start of a press release I put out for a guy called Dean Vegas. Now, Dean Vegas was actually voted the world's best Elvis impersonator in America. And he was running for mayor here on the Gold Coast. No, it's not a joke. This is true. The world's best Elvis impersonator was running for mayor on the Gold Coast. Stranger things have happened out there. So what we did is some good visuals that go with the campaign that we were talking about, because what we were saying here is that if Dean didn't make it in as, if he made it in as mayor, he would stop performing as Elvis, right? He would stop doing Elvis if he made it in as mayor. And we put this press release out within a week of the launch of his campaign. We had TV, radio, print at this event. The event was packed. It was an amazing event. And as hard as he worked on this, unfortunately, he didn't make it in as mayor. However, the good news is he's been booked solid as Elvis ever since. So it's been amazing. You know, there's no such thing, no such thing as bad publicity, right? Okay, now this is since COVID. This is Dr. Me, who's actually in Canada at the moment. Now, we did a campaign early on in COVID, actually, and this is one campaign where the media were like, thank goodness, a positive story during COVID. And what we put out is that we said fear of COVID is making people sick. Okay, so we actually put this lovely press release out, and this story actually ended up talking about how you can build your immune system during COVID so that you can work through this time, right? So some fantastic, fantastic ways to help, such as reduce coffee, alcohol intake, stop smoking, get quality sleep, lots of sunlight, right? What are the media trying to do? Keep us out of the sun, right? Sunlight. You know, they're trying to gag us at the moment with these bloody masks. Anyway, this is, you know, if I was to put a mask out, I'd put this one out. I think, I think we need to spread more love. But anyway, I digress. Okay. And, you know, long breaks from technology are great as well. There's lots of things we can do to build our immune system. And if you haven't heard of the Wim Hof method, check out Wim Hof, not right now, after the webinar. Wim Hof method is really powerful. The guy, this Wim Hof guy is a Dutch guy. And, you know, he's a big believer in things like cold water therapy. You know, having 2 minutes of cold water is really great to help boost your metabolism, etc. And what Wim Hof did is he said, inject me with any kind of disease that you want. And he was so confident that he would sustain and be fine with it that people injected him with all sorts of crap, and he wasn't affected because his immune system was so strong. So it just goes to show that you don't need to believe the lies that we're being fed around COVID right now. And I think if you build your own immune system, it's a really powerful thing. So we had amazing coverage. This was in the Gold Coast Bulletin. It was page 3 there. We had Channel 7 coverage. This is a photo. So when you get your media coverage, I highly recommend that you do get photos with the media. Now, this is before the social distancing came out. Okay, the rules are changing all the time. Obviously, if social distancing is about, it's funny. When, you know, I did this interview soon after the social distancing came out, and it went on Facebook, and people were saying, where's your social distancing? Da, da, da. Anyway, I'm a bit of a rebel, I must say. I don't like to go by rules. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, generally you've probably got a bit of a rebellious nature, I would say, because, it's the crazy ones that change the world, as that quote says, right? It's the crazy ones. The ones that they consider crazy are actually the geniuses, right? Anyway, so get these kind of photos. So we're on Channel 7, we're on Channel 9, these, photo with the reporters. And then what you can do with this to help explode your impact is you then put these photos up on your social media. You tag the reporter, always thank the reporters, thank the media outlets, and celebrate your media success, okay? This is Teresa Todd. She's a homeschooled mum who was running a business from home, and this also came out since COVID. And here she is, she's on Channel 7, And this is when the social distancing now had come about. So as you can see, we have the social distance photo here. And that was mainly spurred on by the Channel 7 reporters, because they have to be very careful, of course, being, you know, professional workers working for the TV crew. They've got to be seen to do the right thing. So anyway, this is what happened. So we had the Channel 7 crew. Now, this angle we had for this story was actually about how homeschool mums were dealing with running with business, doing businesses like Linda does. How do you deal with doing business from home while you're also homeschooling your children? And this story we put out, it was a timely story because it was just in time for Mother's Day in May. Okay, now we've got Father's Day coming up. Father's Day is coming up in September. Great opportunity to get PR right now. If you want to do anything around men or women's issues, Father's Day is coming up. Media are going to be looking for stories for Father's Day. All right, so that was the angle we put out. It was on Channel 7. It was on Juice FM. Now, nowadays with radio, what's happening is a lot of radio stations are actually not doing interviews inside the studio at the moment during COVID. So that's what happened with Teresa. It was actually a phone interview that happened here. Because of the social distancing and the hygiene and all that business, some radio stations are not allowing you to actually come into the studio. So if that is the case, what you want to do is make sure you get a photo out the front of the studio with the logo of the studio, so you can at least use that with your marketing. And these are ways you can really get out to the masses with your social media. There's lots of different ways you can get this out. Your email, your people, lots and lots of ways. I have a whole module on this in my program. But we'll go through this. There's a lot I could say on all this. Now, this is Hans Jacoby. This is a lovely positive story that has come about since COVID as well. Now, Hans came out of self-funded retirement 11 years ago, and he decided to do what he calls a bounce back to freedom tour. Okay, now this bounce back to freedom tour, he started just a month ago or so. He went from Bundaberg all the way up to Darwin in Australia. And we had a heap of media on this. And what he was doing is he was interviewing people on how they were bouncing back to freedom after COVID and turning it into a documentary. Now, he doesn't have to do this. He was a multi-millionaire 11 years ago doing seminars about cash flow positive real estate. He doesn't need to be doing this, but, you know, he wanted to inspire his grandchildren, because your family learn more from what you do than what you say. Right, lovely positive story. We've had so much media just in the last month. Channel 7, Channel 9, Triple M did multiple interviews, ABC Radio, Northwest Star, lots and lots of different media covered this story. Okay, now the second step to publicity is the platform. Which platform do you want to go out to specifically? And as I say, at this point, you need to think about where your ideal clients are hanging out if you're wanting to promote business, right? Where are your ideal clients, so that you can really target your media. So when you put media out, there's two different ways you can do it. You've got the scattergun approach, where you get the media out, you get your press release out to thousands of media outlets at the one time, or hundreds of media outlets, or we have what we call a shotgun approach. Now, the shotgun approach is when you target certain media, which targeting certain media can be a very, very powerful thing to do, particularly if you get one or two hits with certain media where your ideal clients are going to be. The opportunity is absolutely massive. This is just in Australia, not to mention the worldwide media. Look how many media outlets there are just in Australia, and in America, so much more, England, so much more. Worldwide, there are literally thousands and thousands of media outlets, okay? Now, This is, you know, I won't go through all of this, but I just want to bring your attention to 1,600 magazines published just in Australia alone. So no matter what your story is, no matter what your topic is, there will be media that will absolutely love your story. Okay, so it's very important to get that. There's media out there that want your story. This is me on Channel 9. On the left, I was doing a fundraiser for Sea Shepherd, talking about whaling out from Australian shores. And on the right here, this is Herb Armstrong. This is the grandson of Louis Armstrong, who performed at one of my Animal Action events. He's from America. There you go, Jim. He performed at one of the Animal Action events we had here on the Gold Coast. So that was us in the ABC radio studio there. And then make sure you get copies of all your clippings, right? Or get your MP3s, get the MP4s when you end up in media. So this was actually, you know, and again, the power of good photos, colourful photos. Now this was actually from the very first Animal Action event we did back in 2007. You can see I've got the rainbow hat on there. Dean Vegas was actually performing at that event. We've got some animals from the Animal Welfare League that are representing what we're raising money for. And then we had a clown, right? So how can you make what you do colourful and interesting? And we've actually been front cover on the paper many, many times. That's a free local paper here, Sun Community Newspapers. Goes out to about 500,000 people. We've had front cover many, many times. That was just the very first year that we had that one. Now, this is Tracy Corman here. She runs Two's companies. She wanted to reach more business clients. So what happened here is if she paid for an ad, a half-page ad would have cost her $2,000. With the publicity value, we said it's worth 3 to 8 times more than a half-page ad. So times it by 5, that's about $10,000 in value for a half-page ad going to her ideal clients. She wanted more business clients, business magazine. Fantastic coverage, points to her website. And the angle we used here is warning singles to be careful about dodgy or fraudulent dating agencies, right? There was a lot of shonks in the industry at the time. And so it's a great way that she can help the community by making them aware of what are the dodgy dating agencies. And then the story goes on to talk about all the charities she supported, etc. Now, she wanted to target her business, say she wanted to target, say, a major women's magazine like Women's Weekly, then what she could have done is she could have actually put out an angle such as 5 ways to find your soulmate, as an example, right? Same business, different angle, different media. This is Alan Coulton. Now, he has a company called Root Barriers. This is an example of a unique angle, okay? Now, what does the root barrier do? Now, if he went to the media and said, I've got this product called Root Barriers, this plastic thing you put around a house, you know, I want to get some publicity, they'll just say, take out an ad, go spend thousands of dollars, take out ads. But because when we worked together, we looked at what does that product do for the wider community? Well, what it actually does is it stops the tree root from coming underneath the house and cracking the foundation of the house. So that's what this product did. And also at the time, Al Gore's film An Inconvenient Truth had just come out, and global warming was a hot topic. It was a controversial topic. In fact, still a controversial topic. It was something that gets people talking. So we had some amazing coverage with this publicity campaign. And this ended up as a 4-page spread to his ideal clients, to his avatar. His avatar loved this publication, Australian Horticulture Magazine, 4 pages for free. $4,000 he would have paid if it was advertising. $16,000 it would have cost him if it was advertising, but publicity value is worth 5 times more. $80,000 in publicity value by being an Australian Horticulture Magazine, and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of new business from his ideal clients who saw this story. Very, very powerful to target certain media. So the third step is to profit from publicity. How do you profit? Now, I've mentioned a few ways already how to profit. Okay, you want to make sure you maximize your PR by getting copies of your media appearances when you're in the radio station or out the front of the radio station. Get those photos with the logos, get photos with the TV crew, make sure you get your clippings, start a media page on your website. Lots of different ways you can profit. It could just be one person that sees your media that could lead to incredible things. This is a local filmmaker on the Gold Coast. Just one story in the local paper led to a $200,000 funding offer within 24 to 48 hours of the story coming out in the local paper. Do not underestimate the power of just your local paper. You never know who's going to be out there reading it, okay, whether it's online or offline. Local media is incredibly powerful. And the beauty is too, local journalists are always looking for local people doing great things. So when you're pitching to a local media outlet, say what suburb you're from. Automatically they'll think, oh, thank goodness this person understands our media outlet, right? It's a local person, right? It's such a simple thing, but, you know, a lot of people don't think to do this because obviously, you know, you haven't worked in the industry or whatever. And this is a lovely positive story that came out as a result of that. Soap star, awash with enthusiasm for Coast crime drama Dream. Now, this guy, Silvio Offrio, he's from Sydney. He was in the studio on the Gold Coast, and he's from Home and Away. And even though he's not a huge celebrity, the fact is that he was in the studio at that time. So a lovely positive story for the filmmaker that led to the $200,000 funding offer. So this is what you call celebrity angle. You don't need a massive celebrity. Just a celebrity will do the trick, right? Someone who's known through TV, etc. Could even be a famous sports person or something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be an actor or a singer, or, you know, who do you know maybe in sport, or who knows someone that may know someone that can support you. This is a guy called Justin Kelly. Now, Justin Kelly, he did health seminars for years, and he just used local media to get publicity. That's all he used, just free publicity in the local paper. And he had packed seminars continually from just one article. He'd often have to book second events, because his events would fill up because of the PR that came from that. This is Claire Flynn. I'm rushing through a bit. The time has flown, hasn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got a bit more to cover. Does anyone have to run off straight away at 3 o'clock, or are you good to stay on a bit longer? You're good to stay on? Good. Okay, we'll try to finish. I'll go as quick as I can through the last few slides. All right, so this is Claire Flynn. Now, she's a sex and relationships therapist, you know, relationships person, and she wanted to get more business coverage. So what happened is we got a story in Newland magazine, and we talked about how healthy relationships lead to successful businesses. So how does what you do help your ideal clients? So we targeted this one directly at businesses. And what ended up happening from Newland magazine, which actually it was 80,000 copies, went out Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. It also went online, went to New York, etc. So this one, what happened is that someone saw it who asked her to speak at an event in front of 450 of her ideal clients. Just one person saw the magazine article, invited her to speak in front of all these clients. She had more inquiries and leads on her website. She had 100% increase in people booking her services and joining her programs. And then her business went from 1,000 a week to 2,000 a week. That's Australian dollars for you, Jim, so a lot less than American dollars. But, you know, it doubled, right? It doubled from 1,000 to 2,000, and now it's doubled again. And she was traveling the world. She's actually got an American boyfriend, believe it or not, Jim. So she was traveling to America 3 months of the year up until COVID. She's now back here for a while, but she can't wait to get back there. She's got a lovely American boyfriend there. So anyway, probably too much information. But what I'm saying is, you know, that was hugely successful getting in that magazine for her. Now, this is Paul Herman. He's a property investor. It doesn't matter what area that you work in. Paul's a property investor. He's been on Channel 9's Current Affair, Gold Coast Bulletin, ABC, 2GB, and he's out talking about bank fraud and fighting bank fraud. So he's just one guy with the power of the media impacting thousands and thousands of people with this story. And that's the thing, as one individual, you can make a difference with the power of the media, because you're reaching hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with your story. And so what he was fighting there is that banks were actually fraudulently altering loan documents and putting the wrong income on there. And he actually had some properties that were foreclosed. Now, since all of this, he's now renegotiating with the banks on his mortgages with some properties now that he has remaining. All right, this is Stephen Esser. We talked about him earlier. Now, he was incredibly nervous about being on TV. He was voted the world's best public speaker at the World Internet Summit, right? And incredibly nervous. We did some media training together, and we were told by Sky News Business TV that we only had a 3 to 5 minute spot on TV with his interview. After the media training I did with him, he built up his confidence and he blitzed it in this interview. He did amazingly. He got a 6 minute spot. If he paid for advertising, a 30-second ad cost $25,000, right? You work that out, if it was 6 minutes worth of time, $300,000 it would have cost him in advertising alone. Publicity value times that by 5. We said 3 to 8 times value. Times by 5 as an average $1.5 million worth of free publicity with that one TV spot. And now forever in his marketing, he can say, as seen on TV. So this is incredibly powerful, particularly if you want to go more online with what you're doing, or if you have online businesses. To say as seen on TV with your marketing is so, so powerful. Will definitely help you stand out from the crowd. Other ways you can maximize your appearance: make sure you tag back to the media, thank the media that you've appeared in. This is Local Tag, another local company I worked with, which is all focusing on customer service. And we had a whole lot of media for these guys too. So make sure you're always thanking the media. And also you can post onto the social media pages, etc., of the media outlet and thank them that way, in which case you're reaching millions of people generally with most media outlets that way as well. Now, there's a whole lot of PR distribution sites out there. I don't have time to go through all this here today. However, some of these charge for contact lists. Some of them charge per email you send out. There's really a myriad of them out there that you could do what you call scattergun approach with. You can use some of these different media PR distribution sites to do the scattergun approach. Or you could just target certain media. Now, SourceBottle is a very powerful one that I do recommend you check out. The journalists here are always putting up links here for the types of stories they're looking for on SourceBottle. Okay, and you'll find also by looking at this what kind of stories journalists are looking for right now. Now, this is
SourceBottle just for Australia, or is that?
I think it's worldwide, actually, because I know that a lot of the media requests are actually worldwide, not just Australia. So I'm pretty sure it's worldwide. So sourcebottle.com, because I know a lot of the media, it's not just Australian. No, so I'd say it's worldwide. But it might be sourcebottle.com.au or .com. It might be both, actually, because I'm sure you could access it there, Jim, because it's on the internet. So the internet's worldwide, right? So I've just answered the question. So it's worldwide. It's worldwide. And the media requests are often for worldwide media as well. Yeah, so this is a good question there, Jim. Thank you. So this is Michelle Patterson. She is a women's empowerment coach. We put this press release out. We said, coach empowers women who underwent forced adoptions. Now, we had a little bit of interest from this press release, but then what we did is we just tweaked it slightly to this press release. Mother opens up on secret forced adoption after 30 years. Okay, slight tweak, but what happened with this press release angle is the media loved it and they were clamoring for the story. So what ended up happening is, as her PR agent, I ended up negotiating with Women's Day magazine for an exclusive story on Michelle Patterson, who's a Gold Coast empowerment coach, for exclusive story. They paid thousands of dollars for the story. And this is what happened. This is behind the scenes photos of Michelle in her Labrador unit here on the Gold Coast. They sent a makeup and hair person out to her unit there. And then also the photographer came up from Sydney to the Gold Coast as well. These are behind the scenes photos. And this is all Michelle here. She was very nervous initially, but she did a great job with all this. Behind the scenes photos, of course, that were embargoed until the story came out. Behind the scenes photos again, and here it is. Here's the 2-page story that came out. The publicity value of this is $300,000, 1.6 million readers she reached with this story. And the beauty is here in the second paragraph, on the second line, is her website for her business. So even though she shared her personal story, her business got amazing coverage in front of 1.6 million readers. Very, very powerful. This is Kurik Ashley. He's a success coach, actually from America, and he's worked with Anthony Robbins, some big guys, and we did a zero to hero angle here. This went in Excel magazine, went out to 25 countries. And interestingly, now this story talks about how Kurik went from $20 away from being broke to now being a multimillionaire. And this magazine article, it's funny because the story actually got held 1 month to the next month, and Kurik always wanted to be on Oprah. Always wanted to be on Oprah. And can you believe that the magazine that he had a 4-page story in was the same magazine that Oprah was on the cover of? Right? Talk about the power of manifestation, right? Unbelievable. Kurik was blown away. He said now in Oprah's hot little hands is a 4-page article about a Sunshine Coast success coach, from America, now living in Australia. That he was blown away. Very, very powerful. Now, the publicity value is only $80,000. Well, only $80,000, still $80,000. But, what would it be worth to you to be in the same media that Oprah is in and that she's going to see your story? Very, very powerful. The world really is your oyster. Now, I have a very special offer today, and it's actually going to be the very last time I offer this. So is it okay if I just share with you how we can work together further? If you would like to do some more work together or like to take your media to another level. Is that okay? Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right. Thank you. Okay. So what I've got is actually a COVID-19 special program. Now, in this program, I just want you to know there is a lot of my time in this program. This is going to be the very last time I offer this because I'm finding that I'm starting to get booked out well in advance now. So, but at the moment, I've got this program. It's actually one-on-one. We're actually going to be doing work together via Zoom, or if you're in the neighborhood, we can do it face-to-face. A media consultation one-on-one to go through your media goals and uncover the gems of your story. This is incredibly valuable. Through this session, all also often we've been able to find really strong brands for people. Media Queen is my brand, not just because people have trouble saying Aldwyn Altuney. Having a strong brand, a brand name is really important to help elevate your profile as well. So we'll look at all that. We'll look at everything you do. We'll look at your life story, and we'll find there one-on-one. I will work with you to find the gems of your story for your campaign. Then we're going to do a media marketing strategy. So we're actually going to look at how you can now plan this out, map this out over the next year with the media marketing strategy that's tailor-made for you. And that's one-on-one with me with this program. Also, I'm going to look at your social media, and I'm going to look at what happens when people Google you. Are you Google-licious? Are you Google-licious, right? What happens when people Google you? Are they going to find consistency of message right across the board? Or are they going to find a whole lot of different things on there? We want to make sure we have cohesiveness and a cohesive brand message and brand view. So we'll look at that, and we'll tweak your social media. We'll actually do a makeover of your social media. So we'll do an audit of it, and then also we'll work together to tidy up all your social media that you have out there. Brand review suggestions as well. These are the values here. So I charge $1,000 an hour normally for my time, and moving forward, there's not even going to be much available of my time because it's becoming more and more scarce with the demands. So also I'll look at your about profile for LinkedIn, or your speaker biography. If you want to get speaking gigs, I'll have a look at that. And 99% of times I end up rewriting or editing your bio. Okay, it's very important to have a good bio, and so I'll look at that, and I'll actually work through that, and I'll rewrite that for you. That is invaluable, particularly if you want to get speaking gigs. You need to have a really good bio, and people tend to downplay themselves when they're talking about themselves, so it always helps to have a professional looking at that for you. Also, when it comes to getting your media interviews, we will do one-on-one training together, so you are confident being on camera or confident in those media interviews. Okay, so I'll actually do some mock interviews with you. We'll fine tune your grabs so that we have some really good grabs to go for radio or for TV, particularly when you've only got 3 to 5 minutes to get your message out. In fact, if you're on a news show, you'll only have a minute. There's a minute, it's about 30 seconds to a minute, if that. So you need some really strong grabs that are going to summarize your story powerfully. Also, a 1 hour live interview on Media Queen TV. That's one-on-one. I stream that out to Facebook and YouTube. And that's one-on-one. You and I, we will be capturing part of your legacy in this interview, right? So that if you die tomorrow, your family will have something they can look at and say, that's part of that story. I'm proud of that person. That person was in my family and look what they did, right? So that's something we capture your legacy. These 4 friends of mine that took their own life, none of them had any video of them anywhere. Right? Extraordinary people, but they didn't have that legacy, right? They had a few photos of them out there, but photos versus video, you can't compare. If a photo's worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000 words, right? And that's why I always recommend, if you're going to do a podcast, do a video cast, because you can extract the audio and still keep the video. You can't go from audio back to video, right? So video marketing, very powerful, incredibly powerful. In fact, 80% of all online traffic is going to be video consumption, very, very important. Anyway, 1 hour live interview on Media Queen TV with you. Also, with this special program, I have a promotion out to my 60,000 contacts on social media. So when we do that interview together, I'll be promoting you all over the place. And as you get your media coverage, we have media success snippets that we put out with our clients on social media as well. So I'm constantly promoting you out to my whole community that I've taken years to build. I've got 30,000 contacts just on LinkedIn. Right, very powerful to be able to leverage that and use that to promote you. So I'm really shining the light on you using my contacts. Also, what you get is the recordings. Now, I actually have my awesome mass media mastery training modules. I have a 7-step system to getting free publicity, and AWESOME is the acronym. And the A for awesome is articulate story. The W is work your angles. E is elevate your profile. S is startle the media. O is own your power. M is master interviews, and E is explode impact. So I've actually got 7 modules of training that are actually currently recorded in the membership site. And the next 5 modules we're actually going to be doing on Q&As on Zoom. It's going to be, this program's finishing on October 20. You'll have access to the 7 recordings we've currently done, and you'll be able to hop on live for the next 5 recordings, where we're going to be covering Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, going into detail on those with a 1-hour training session live. So you can come on, be part of the live recording, and that goes in the membership site, that anyone in future that joins the membership site will be able to see you on there, and you can market yourself now. It's very, very powerful. Also, you get a ticket to any of my upcoming half-day How to Gain $1 Million worth of free publicity workshops. I need to update this slide because the next one's actually August 27. All right. And this is a 4-hour workshop in detail. You get to come to any of these workshops absolutely free. And the 4-hour workshops sell for $47 plus booking fee online. So you can come back again and again. You can keep networking with people, getting deeper learnings. You know, I've covered quite a bit today in this short amount of time. And I really want to hear more of your stories. It was fantastic having you share today. So you can come back to any of these upcoming workshops. So there's the next one. Here's an updated slide. I didn't update the last one. The 27th of August, 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which will be nighttime for you, Jim, over there, but earlier than now, right? So it'll be the Friday night for you, Jim, over there, the 26th of August. Okay. Now, also with this program, you get lifetime access to the Mass Media Mastery membership site. So ongoingly, I'll be adding press release templates, media contacts, media checklists. I keep adding to this membership site. You're going to get all the updates forever, lifetime access. And also down the track, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing monthly Zoom calls. So you'll get access to all of those as well, included in this program. And also we have a fantastic closed Facebook group where people are already, they're starting to do media appearances together. They're collaborating, doing retreats together. There's amazing people that have joined the program from all over the world, and you will get access to our private group. You'll have lifetime access to this closed Facebook group, Mass Media Mastery, where we have your back to get media coverage. Now, the special offer today, the normal price is $13,038. Today, it's just $997 down today, and then 5 monthly payments of $997. Okay, and that's the link for it there, aaexposed.com/mass-media-mastery. Okay, that's the link there. You can have a look at that. This is the last time I will be doing this at this price with so much of my one-on-one time. But the thing is with this, though, is that I guarantee you will get publicity, right? And the whole value of the program will be paid in just one media spot for you, right? And I'm so confident in this system, and this is Australian dollars, by the way, Jim. So that's probably only about $200 US. That's probably about 500 or so, or 600 maybe US a month. Now, if you show you've followed my Mass Media Mastery system and you have not gained free publicity, I will work with you personally for free until you do. And that's insane value. You know, my one-on-one clients, they pay me $7,000 a month, okay, for me to do all the media for them. All right. So this is the cheapest way you're going to be able to access me and all my knowledge of 30 years experience. That's my guarantee. And I stand by that. I've done it again and again. And in fact, I haven't had one client where we haven't had publicity so far. And I have the only company I know of that guarantees publicity. People don't do this. There's PR companies do not guarantee publicity. Okay. So this is something I guarantee. I stand by what I do. So there it is again. That's the link there. aaexposed.com/mass-media-mastery. I'll put that link into the chat in just a moment. We'll come to Q&A if you have any questions. And this is my last slide here, or might be my second last. Anyway, this is really what I want to leave you with today. Whether you work with me or don't work with me, I want to see you in the media. Now, people have attended workshops with me, gone straight out and got publicity without me. You don't need to work with me, but if you feel you want extra support, I am here for you. We have an amazing community that is here for you as well to support you in this journey. And I'd like you to know, you might want to read this along with me. I believe in the power of one, and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. You know, we are so incredibly powerful, and often people don't give them credit for their own power. You've beaten 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line just by being born. You've beaten 1 billion, you're 1 in 1 billion just by being born. And I think you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. There's a reason you've come onto this Zoom today. And I want to thank you, acknowledge you for being here and sharing this time together, because I know time is so valuable. And my biggest wish is for people to step up and shine bright and to share their message, to be seen and heard, to stop being the world's best kept secret, and to step into the star that they are. Get so emotional sometimes. Anyway, so that's that. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm going to stop the share and we'll come to Q&A now. Any questions, any comments? What did you get out of that? Anyone like to share? I'll put that that link into the chat there too. Oh, and I do have a bonus for the first 2 people that join today. I have a bonus, special bonus. I will actually give you a hard copy of one of these 4 compilation books that I have a chapter about how to get publicity. Visions of Success. I'll give you a hard copy, autographed copy of this. Wherever you are in the world, I'll send it to you. Visions of Success is a fantastic book I did with a guy called Pat Mesiti and a few other amazing entrepreneurs. I'll also give you this one of either of these that you would like. You can choose one. For the first 2 people that joined today, the best-selling book Think Big, as well, with Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover. No, we're not married, but I think we look pretty bloody good together. But anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger's on the cover of that one, Think Big. That was actually launched in LA a few years ago. I did the launch over there. Elevate Your Mindset is another one I've got a chapter in. Elevate Your Mindset with Authentic Education. I did that one. And this one only just came out on Good News Day. This is actually empowering stories from female leaders who said, why not? This is the latest Why Not book. Actually, it's the first Why Not book. There's been Why Magazine going for a while. This is Shah Moore's baby, and myself and 18 other amazing female leaders who said, why not? Our stories are in here. So you can pick any of those books and I will send it to you, or if we meet face to face, I will give it to you personally. So that's a bonus for the first 2 people that joined today. And now any questions, please unmute yourself, and I will look at the comments as well. I'll just put that link in the chat. Okay, aexposed.com/mass-media-mastery. There we go. So that's the link for that. You can have a look at the whole program there. It's all online. Guaranteed media coverage. I would love to work with you. Jim, you have a question? Jim, I can't hear you there. Oh, that's interesting. I can see your mouth.
Oh, no. It's my fault. It's on microphone.
Oh, okay.
Error. I was going to say it's really late here, but I appreciated your presentation very much. Learned quite a bit. I hope to maybe work with you in the future. Not the best time for me, but no reflection on your presentation at all. It was very good. And you had me up to 1:15 at night. So that's a testimony in itself.
Thank you so much, Jim. Look, we've had one lady from America join called Sheila Mack, and she's been on about 14 different media coverage. She went out and got TV coverage within about a week of joining the program.
Okay.
So check her out. Sheila Mack, her name is Sheila Mack, M-A-C, and she's put a book out called Bootstraps to Brass Straps. So she's an amazing lady you might like to connect with over there. She's in Vegas, I believe, at the moment. Between LA and Vegas, she bases herself. So look, so wonderful, Jim. Thank you so much for sharing. And just on the thing about the time's not right now, and I totally get, you are where you are, but I just want to share a guy called Peter McLaughlin from Sydney. He came to one of my seminars, actually came to 2 of my seminars, my workshops in Sydney, and he was a business coach, and he also had a beekeeping business. And he kept saying to me, Aldwyn, I love your work. And he gave me an amazing testimonial on LinkedIn, which you can actually look at, Peter McLaughlin, amazing testimonial. And he said, I love your work, but I'm just not ready yet. He said to me, and you know what? Only a few months ago, I got a call and someone said, have you heard what happened to Peter? I said, no, what happened to Peter? And they said, well, he actually passed away. He had cancer. He was in his early 50s. He died of cancer. 3 weeks of knowing after 3 weeks of knowing he had pancreatic cancer, he was dead 3 weeks later. So I just want to share that with you, because 1/3 of all people die by the age of 65, right? And generally speaking, you're not going to be looking as good next year unless you're on the amazing anti-aging stuff that Linda and Christiana are on. You're not going to look as good next year as you will this year when it comes to getting out there. So yes, I just want to say, seize the moment. If you feel any urge to do anything in life, I think listen to your prompting, because Sometimes we let opportunities go past, and sometimes they just never come back again, right? So if you do want to chat further about it, or want to have a one-on-one chat with me, I'm happy to do that as well, and work through that. Or if the time's not right for you right now, that's perfectly fine too. But whatever you do, I do hope that you put yourself out there, whether you work with me or not. Please do. Hopefully you've had some ideas now today to be able to actually go forward and do some media yourself, even if not with me, right? But I just want to see you step up and step out and make the difference that you're here to make.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And
thank you, Jim.
Hello, everyone. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you, Jim. Sleep well.
I will. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you, Jim. And stay connected on Mass Media Tribe, our group on Facebook as well. We do free events every 2 weeks as well, different marketing events. So,
Okay.
Jim, did you see my message in the chat to you? About the version of Source Bottle that's in America?
Oh, help a reporter out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
Thank
cool.
you. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you.
Yes,
you.
Help a Reporter's Out is another one too. That's another great one. Yeah, Help a Reporter Out.
Cool beans.
But Source Bottle, I know there's a lot of calls for media that they say you can be anywhere in the world, and that the media outlet is often from, say, Canada, America, UK. So there are. But yeah, so just put. So it must be sourcebottle.com.au. I just put Source Bottle, it comes up. But whatever it is, you'll be able to pitch from there as well, Jim.
Okay.
Check out Help a Reporter Out. That's a good one, Margie. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Awesome.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Any other questions, comments? What did you get out of today? Oh, we've got questions here. Does your website have the price of the individual elements if we can't manage the full investment? No, it doesn't have the individual elements. What was it, Margie? Can I just get clarity on that? Which element were you after?
I took photos of the screen as you were doing it, so yeah. I sort of know how much they all were, but I thought they probably are all parts of the package kind of thing, and it might be a bit more or a bit less or something if you're buying them individually. And I didn't know if there was an opportunity to do that, and whether that was on the website, and explain what each section included, or could you just join one section of it, or pick up just, say, I don't know, say I wanted the one-on-one media training. Could I just do that with you, or is it all part of a package?
You can just do a media consultation if you like, although you're paying $3,000 for that. So why not pay, $5K, whatever it is here was $6K over 6 months to get everything included. Like, it kind of doesn't make sense to pay $3K just for the media consultation. You can, if you want.
When does this offer run out?
This offer here, I'd say the next 24 hours. Next 24 hours we'll keep this up. Yeah, it will be changed. I mean, look, if you want to chat one-on-one, Margie, I'm happy to do that. But generally speaking, I'm just offering this package at the moment. Or if you want me to do PR for you for the month, it's $7K for the month. So we can do that too. If you just want me to do everything for a month, where I guarantee media coverage and I'm representing you, that's $7K for the month. So we could do that as well. But if you just want the media consultation, that is incredibly valuable, mind you. That's $3K on its own. So this is the way I've done it this way to make it really affordable for people at this time, because I know some people are stressing about money and things like that at the moment. The idea is that we get you out there, we get you known, we get you seen. So you're charging more for what you do. You can leverage what you're doing, right? And I want to get you financially free too. And working with Linda's amazing too, with ClickFunnels and all the back end of things. She's great with that. I don't do websites and funnels, and I don't do all that stuff. I help you get clear on a brand and a message and get you out in the mass media. That's what I do. That's my specialty, So, so that's a good question. Thank you, Margie. And if you do want to have a one-on-one chat with me, then just send me a private message in Facebook, or you can send me a private message here with your phone number, and we can chat after this as well. I'm happy to have a chat. I've got some time after this. Okay, let's have a look at any other questions. So Francesca was here. She says, any chance you can send a list of the PR media sites to my email after the slide before the source bottle where you're listing all the PR distributors? Yeah, Francesca, look, I'm going to have a recording of this whole presentation where you can go back over it as well. So I can send you that if you like. I know you're not on here now, but when you're watching the replay, I'll make sure you get that. Yep, that's all good.
I've got another question, Aldwyn.
Yes.
The $49 half day program, what does that cover? We haven't covered today.
Workshop. It's
Yeah.
similar to today, but a lot more detail, right? There's a lot more detail. It's 4-hour workshop and a lot more interactive as well. Okay. So it's also a great networking opportunity, and we go through some similar strategies to today. Similar. This is like a 2-hour condensed, workshop. And so I go into a lot more detail in the 4-hour. So you could do that on its own too, if you want to come back and, just do that. But at that point, next time I do that in August, there's going to be a different offer. It's not going to be this one-on-one offer. So if you want that, if you feel like you need extra support and you want that more, guidance one-on-one, then this is the program. This is the one to get. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Margie. Any other questions, comments? What else did you get out of it? John, you've been very quiet there. I don't know if you're listening, can't see your face. Hopefully you're not a dentist. Well, you're probably not. I just think of that ad, a dentist can't show their face. Yeah, any other comments, questions? Christian, what did you get out of it? Linda, what are some things you got out of today? Love to hear from you. Just unmute yourself if you'd like to share. Thank you, Aldwyn. Linda says, fab. Awesome, Linda. You are fab, Linda. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Christian.
Yes, that was awesome, Aldwyn. There's so much value that you give and a lot of information as well. So we can actually go and do our own thing. Just have an idea of how it works in the first place. You did give a lot of information in your 2-hour, and I think the 4-hour will be even better, with more information to go by and to give us a sense of how to do a media release. Is that right?
Yes,
media release.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. The 4-hour, I go into a lot more detail in the press release, and I show more examples. And yeah, so if you want to know more about how to do your own press release, then that could be an option too on the workshop. If you want to see the link for the workshop, then the link is in the Mass Media Tribe group in the events section. So if you just go to events there, you'll see that. And we also have a Mass Media Tribe event coming up next Wednesday. We've got Tony from Radio Tony. She's going to talk about online radio versus podcasting. So that's a free event we're running. I do that every 2 weeks as well, with different guest speakers. So that one is the 19th of August, 7 till 9:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's a good one to hop on if you're available next Wednesday night. And then we'll have another one 2 weeks after that. We're going to be covering Instagram. We've got also, there's a Channel 7 reporter I was talking to that wants to come on as a guest as well. So we're going to have actual media industry people as well coming on to speak down the track as well. So yeah, lots of great stuff.
The idea is to join your Mass Media Tribe to get more information and more connection with you, to eventually work with you.
Yeah. If you don't feel you're ready right now to work together or whatever, then you want to stay connected in a community. It's not our Mass Media Mastery community. It's a different community. The Mass Media Mastery one is just for our paid members of the program, right? So that's a different group. Although you're more than welcome to join Mass Media Tribe, which is the free group. And then we can go from there. Wherever you're at is perfect. I'm here to support you wherever you're at. I don't need the money. I just want to help people get out there, right? I have property investments. I don't have to be in business at all, to be honest. I've got other ways to make money, right? So for me, this is a love thing. This is and particularly since COVID, I want to help people get out, share more truth, share more good news, shift the way that we are doing messaging on the planet right now. That's what I'm a stand for. So, whatever it takes, that's what I'm here for. So, yeah. And
Thank you for today.
Thank you so much. Anyone else want to share anything before we wrap up the recording? And feel free to save the chat too, by the way. If you haven't saved the chat, just go to the bottom 3 there. There's where you got to type a message. You just go where it says everyone and file. On the right, it says save chat. So there's 3 dots. 3 dots, you go save chat in there. If you want to save the chat and connect with people outside of this. And I'll put the photos up from today. I'll put it all up on social media. I'll tag you guys. As long as we're friends, I can tag you. Have a look for that on my social media as well. Any other final comments, questions? Thank you. Beautiful, Linda. Thank you so much. Margie, thank you for today. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you, John, for joining us. John, do you want to say something? I can see you've unmuted yourself there.
Thank you, Aldwyn. I'm actually driving, so I've got you on headphones.
Wonderful. John, how did you find the event?
Yeah, it was great, thanks.
Awesome.
I just got a heap of work happening, so I had to just plug in the headphones.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to hear from you, John. Fantastic.
But
Thank you.
yeah, great. Really great. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a real honor and pleasure to be with you. And here's to you shining bright, lighting up those around you and making the difference that only you are here to make. God bless you all. Lots of love. Mwah. We'll see you
Bye,
again.
everybody.
Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.